give you a good idea of where the OIG audits fall within the grand scheme of the entire federal audit environment, we wanted to just highlight all the different kind of audits and reviews that would typically come your direction. So single audits, also formerly known as A133 audits. Most everybody, I'm sure, is familiar with these. These are required for non-federal entities that expend $750,000 or more in federal funds during a fiscal year. These single audits are independent and separate from anything that we in the Inspector General do. They serve different purposes, and with few exceptions, these audits are required annually. One of the primary purposes of these single audits is for the auditors to determine whether the financial statements and the schedule of expenditures of federal awards are presented fairly. The next bullet down is just internal audits. This is really customized and different from university or institution. These audits are conducted by the university's internal auditor, if they have one, and the objectives and scope of any of those audits are determined by the university, and we've noted are usually more operations-oriented when compared to the financial-oriented type audits that we conduct. Going further down the list, agency reviews. I'm more familiar with NSF than the other agencies, so from an NSF perspective, NSF has several different variations of proactive reviews that they conduct. They could be desk reviews, which assess the awardee's ability to manage federal funds. It could be a site visit to assess the awardee's system of controls. Or there's also targeted review assessments, and those are meant to be quick and targeted reviews of specific areas of concern, and then again, not necessarily applicable to most folks on the phone, but there's also business system reviews that focus on the business practices of large facilities and federally funded research and development centers. And then finally, this brings us down to our realm of the world, the Inspector General's audits. We, as Cindy mentioned earlier, focus both internal to NSF, so reviewing NSF's operations, financial statements, programmatic efficiencies, or external to the foundation, and that's the types of audits that we would do of all the awardees that NSF has. As Cindy mentioned, we are independent of NSF, so we set our own audit plan, we conduct the audits ourselves, and then we pass on the audit results to NSF to resolve. So NSF doesn't necessarily have a direct and immediate influence on the audits itself. All of our audits can have varying objectives and scope. It's often based on risk assessments, priorities to the agency, congressional priorities we may have. It could really be determined by any number of factors. So we have a lot of leeway and authority to conduct the audits that we feel make the most sense or address the highest risks to NSF at any given moment.